No more mutants. 3 simple words, but when spoken by one of the most powerful beings in the MCU, they could carry a lot more weight. Thanks to the merger of Disney and Fox in the not-so-distant past, Marvel has regained some of its most popular characters under the emblem of the mouse. Everyone's coming home, and there's really no point in leaving some of the most powerful players on the bench for too long. The big question is, where are the mutants now, and how is Marvel going to bring them into the world? Well, with the project simply codenamed The Mutants being whispered around the House of Mouse, it doesn't seem like it'll be too much of a challenge. With that in mind, let's dive into the potential candidates to go head-to-head with our favorite Crimson Conqueror, Wanda Maximoff. Moira is the most well-known X-Men. It may be just because her powers are fairly understated compared to some of her peers. They may not be superbly noticeable in life, but in death is where they kick in. Moira reincarnates herself upon her death, keeping all of her memories from her previous lives. So why are we bringing her up? She has appeared in films before, but what makes us think she's coming to the MCU? Well, because she's been mentioned as a possible part of the Mutants project at Marvel Studios. An early candidate for the MCU, she has been rumored to be in the works alongside Professor X to head up some of the first appearances of the X-Men in the MCU. It makes sense as she often serves as a leading geneticist in the comic book world, giving a lot of understanding to the complexity of the X gene. She's not much of a fighter, but she is both a mutant and a spokesperson for their powers and politics. So if Wanda is hunting mutants, Moira is on the list. It's official. Deadpool is coming to the MCU. Feige himself has confirmed that Deadpool 3 will be within the world of the MCU. Now, Deadpool is indeed an X-Men. Just glance back at his first film appearance. Actually, never mind. We don't need to think about that, ever. Anyway, Wade Wilson is coming in hot. And when it comes to meddling with the fabric of reality, well, he's a fan of bending the rules. If Wanda and Wade were ever to cross paths, she might not be the most enthusiastic about their meeting. She might be the reason for him breaking into Earth 616 in the first place. Wade is very, very hard to kill, so she might have her work cut out for her, trying to destroy him if she wants to eradicate mutants from across the multiverse. If they think it's too soon for Wolverine, might as well try the next best thing. Sabretooth has been around the X-Men films before, giving him slightly better marketability and brand recognition from fans of the original films, maybe even a little nostalgia too. He will most likely be rebooted, as we expect nearly all the mutants to be, so it would be interesting to see how they treat him in the brave new world of the MCU. Also, if they're considering doing the Brotherhood of Mutants, then Sabretooth is one of its core members, and may be a good character to swing into the MCU. And of course, it is a tease that really prompts the eventual appearance of our dear James Logan Howlett. That's a pretty solid promise to make, bub. If the X-Men are coming, how in the world would they not bring him too? Will we see a young Charles Xavier working on building a school from the ground up to aid those with these newfound abilities? Or maybe he's been here all along, helping kids with the X gene learn to hide and control their powers. Being in another country, it makes sense that he could have missed out on the Maximoff twins, and is currently off Wanda's radar. But if she's going after mutants, even those from other worlds, he's not going to stand idly by. He is rumored to be used in some of the early mutant content under Disney, coming into the world with Moira McTaggart by his side. So it shouldn't be long before we have him rolling back onto our screens with all his crazy mind powers. He might also be good in helping Wanda process her trauma. That is, if she doesn't try to remove him from the multiverse first. Now for some angstier theories. Okay, so Wanda has just lost 2 of her boys at the end of WandaVision. They were attached to the Hex and are now gone since it was removed. But thanks to the post-credit scene, we know that they are still out there somewhere. She can hear them calling to her, and maybe that's why she's going to explore the multiverse in the first place. But if she is causing chaos and destruction in her wake, her heroic son might just have to face off against his very powerful mom in order to save lives. If Wanda finds both Tommy and Billy, then only one of them has the magic that could really stand up to her. So Billy is likely to be the young hero to fight against this potential threat. And maybe encountering one of her sons might be what can stop her. She might not fight them, but there is no guarantee they'll remember her. Well, I'm sufficiently sad now. Moving right along. Rogue is a staple for the X-Men universe, and a fan favorite. It would be criminal not to have her appear once they have the right situation, and Rogue could give Wanda a run for her money with her own abilities, since she can simply just steal the powers of anyone she comes in contact with, not to mention their memories and physical strength. In the comics, Rogue does take the powers of Captain Marvel, with Carol Danvers doing an insane amount of work for the Avengers in the current timeline, such as running the space sector of study and peace management as shown in the post-credit scene in Shang-Chi. she's still a key player in this post-blip world. Having such a depowering of Carol and a new strong adversary would be a superbly captivating plotline. Even if they start as adversaries, Wanda and Rogue may form some kind of bond. Both of them tend to hurt those around them involuntarily due to their respective abilities. They can understand each other. Maybe this fight will end with both of them gaining a friend. Or it could just be a cool superhero battle and end up bringing one of the coolest X-Men of all time to the MCU. I mean, that's fine and dandy too. Well, if Deadpool is on his way, Colossus could always hop on for a ride. Colossus was a wonderful sight in the Deadpool movies, trying to get Wade to do the right thing. This fun banter he brought to the table made him oh so very likable, despite being at odds with our protagonist. Steadfast and strong, he has a clear view of what he believes is the right way to go about things in the world, and will encourage others to do the same. Mutant or no, he always seems very enthusiastic for anyone to join Xavier's school. As a much more straightforward and lawfully good character, he is not likely to see eye to eye with whatever it is Wanda is planning, especially if it involves the death of many of his peers. This mighty metal man may not be a match for Magic, but I'm sure he'll give it his best shot. A sorceress in her own right, Magic is usually found caught in the plane of limbo. If Stephen Strange is planning on doing some hopping around dimensions, she may just be an early find. The sister of the mighty Colossus, her power is that of teleportation, a fair reason for her to be found within the layers of the multiverse in the first place. Mutant abilities aside, she has studied some of the mystical arts, making her a very capable sorceress as well. Her powers may be a welcome addition in the fight against Wanda if she becomes an obstacle. Being a magically imbued mutant herself, she would be a less well-known, but great early X-Men to introduce. Now, Kid Omega has never had a live-action version with much of a storyline, as he's a fairly new character. But he's got a lot of interesting potential. He's mainly served as a fun cameo with some confusion regarding his identity in X-Men The Last Stand, due to the credits misnaming him. But all that just means he's ripe for the picking. Plus, with Kate Bishop debuting soon, maybe the West Coast Avengers may not be too far off. He's a great item to have to get the X-Men off the ground, from his overall look, to his demeanor, and his current pet, Jeff the baby land shark. He's sure to gain a wonderfully rabid fan base. Plus, his power set is incredible, making him able to stand a chance against Wanda, should she decide that mutants are a no-go. So, Gambit almost got off the ground at some point. Does anyone remember that? That film, supposed to star Channing Tatum? Yeah, well, it was officially canceled by Disney not too long ago. Oh well. But maybe this is a very good thing, or a very deliberate plan on their part. Maybe this was so that they could rehash his introduction to suit their needs. Maybe they plan to bring him aboard soon. He's a charming man with a slick look and an iconic set of cards. Very much a figure to know when it comes to the X-Men. Only time will tell. He would be a neat new face to see among the current MCU lineup. Channing or no Channing. Wolverine has certainly stretched his movie legs to the max, with films spanning the better part of a decade and beyond. So maybe it's time for Logan to truly retire, more officially. Let him stay buried in the ground for at least a few more years. But that does leave a hole in the Claude superhero department. Well, who could fill those shoes? X-23, that's who. All the power of Wolverine, sometimes complete with the Wolverine mantle too. If the MCU wants a fresh start, a new place to move on from apart from the X-Men universe, kicking it off with a brand new Wolverine may not be the worst place to start. Plus, she's a talented assassin, possibly giving reason for her covertness up until now. Maybe she'll be sent on a top secret mission of incredible importance. Destroy the Scarlet Witch. We'll just have to wait and see. Storm has the power of a weather goddess. Not the easiest thing to hide in the world, but there is the potential that she's been hidden in the recently opened Wakanda, having her absence make a little more sense in the grand scheme of the MCU. Storm has been an ally and political correspondent to Wakanda in the past. Her involvement there is quite impactful, to the point where she and T'Challa once had a romance in the comics. Does this guarantee her spot in the eyes of Marvel Studios? No, but we would sure like her to return. Another powerhouse, her weather abilities may just be what we need to face off against the magic of the Scarlet Witch. Natural phenomena against the warping of reality might make for quite the spectacle. Nightcrawler has always been one of the coolest X-Men. That's just a pretty solid fact there. But, is there a lot of reasoning or speculation for his arrival? Not really. Aside from the demonic happenings with the Darkhold and Mephisto, there isn't much hope or hinting at the arrival of the wonderful Swashbuckler. The fact that he was such a hit on screen before may be all the encouragement we need for him to enter into the MCU. Plus, dropping him in would encourage the addition of interconnected figures like Mystique and Azazel. More overlap to the possible dark dealings that Wanda may find herself in while learning more about her magic. We all know him, we all love him, but is it too soon to pull Logan back into the fray? Well, let's see. They finally laid Wolverine to rest, with Old Man Logan going out with a lot of fight and giving hope to some new little mutants along the way. Is it rude to dig him up so soon? Hopefully not. With Hugh Jackman having hung up the claws, it would be very exciting to see what the MCU could have planned for the character, and just how they may plan to reboot him in this new world. Will he have his iconic hair? Will he know Steve Rogers from World War II? Will he be whittled back down to his comic book stature he's known for? Lots of possibilities to think about with this new change of scenery. But back to the witch-focused issues here. We know that if Wanda starts causing trouble, he's not going to stand by for too long. Logan may be gruff around the edges, but he does what he thinks is right most of the time. And if someone throws him a pack of beer, he'll get to it a little faster. A fairly durable foe, Wanda may have her work cut out for her, fighting against a man who just won't go down. If any mutant could hold their own against the Scarlet Witch, that's going to be Miss Jean Grey, frequent host of the legendary Phoenix Force. Even without the Phoenix Force, Jean Grey has quite a bit of power, and as a staple of the X-Men, she's bound to make an appearance eventually. She holds a key place in many fans' hearts and is a major player in many storylines. Whether she wants to or not, she might just get mixed up in all the mayhem that is the MCU. As a telekinetic and an empath, she may relate to Wanda in a way not all other heroes can. They aren't too dissimilar in their stories, especially with the specific way that Wanda's powers manifest in the MCU. Both of them have been selected by entities who are much older and powerful than themselves. This is a blessing and a curse. Will they be tossing the Phoenix Force into the ring right away? Maybe not. But seeing these two characters interact at some point may be a genuine treat, even if they have to fight a little first. It's hard to be a superpowered person in the current MCU timeline. Things have been rough. From the Sokovia Accords to the whole Thanos thing, now in a post-blip era, things are still not the best for anyone, let alone those who have some unusual talents. If the X-Men are around and powered, they gotta stay off the grid. That's where Mystique might have the upper hand. Shapeshifting. It would give her the incredible ability to hide in plain sight. She could be anywhere and anyone. Someone like her may just be able to make it, but her shape-changing might be noticeable to someone like Wanda, so that may put her in jeopardy if mutants are starting to be targets of this powerful witch. Mystique has been a very popular figure in the X-Men films, so it would be great to see what the MCU could do with her. With the add-on of ever-improving practical and digital effects, she could be an amazing character to see grace the silver screen yet again. Magneto is the main baddie of the X-Men universe, though his actual alignment may be debatable depending on his upbringing and interpretation in the medium. He's usually around to bicker with Professor X and cause general misfortune for someone along the way. As for him in the MCU, there's a very low chance of him being Wanda's biological father in this universe, but who knows, maybe he is in another. Regardless, in terms of X-Men priorities, Magneto will probably be high on Marvel's list of characters if they're attempting to gather the Brotherhood of Mutants, an iconic force to champion the rights of mutants, though historically at the expense of everyday humans who walk the earth. As for battling against our Westview Witch, he's certainly not defenseless. No matter his age or interpretation, Magneto is a force to be reckoned with, and very, very smart. So he's going to be a challenge for this up-and-coming witch, especially if she decides that mutants should be a thing of the past in every reality. After the craziness of the not Pietro and WandaVision, the chances of Wanda being accepting of any version of her brother are quite a bit lower than before, so another one showing up so soon? Hard pass. The actual likelihood of another Quicksilver coming up so soon? Well, that's up for debate. Wanda doesn't seem like she'll be searching for her brother at the moment, and we got a lot of Quicksilver love on the show, but maybe, just maybe, we may get a glimpse of them through the multiverse, just for fun. And what are the odds another universe's answer for Pietro would be identical to Westview resident and actor Ralph Bohner? Crazy. Whatever this new Quicksilver could look like, the chances of Wanda instantly accepting his existence is slim. And though she may not be instantly out to kill her own brother, no matter where or when he's from, Pietro is a hero in many storylines and won't stand by if she turns her rage onto his fellow mutants. A conflict is likely to arise. If she wants to kill all mutants, he's one of them. The multiverse of madness is still a long way away, So who knows if we will get any further word on the mutants before the release. But for now, we can only speculate. Until that day comes, stay weird, bend reality, and see you next time.